Welcome to our college briefing show. Today, we've got some exciting sports wins, record-breaking performances, and international milestones to share. First up, Louisville's number 19 team sprinted past Boston College with Isaac Brown rushing a jaw-dropping 205 yards, helping Louisville stay alive in the ACC Championship race. It was a game full of ups and downs, but Louisville's key plays sealed the deal. Next, we dive into the incredible feats at the World Aquatics Swimming World Cup. Ilya Kharun, a young Canadian star, wowed everyone by winning his second consecutive Triple Crown and breaking records, earning a hefty prize of over $54,000. His stunning performance, along with teammate Josh Liendo's world record, really put Canada on the map in international swimming. Finally, in a historic move, East Timor has officially joined ASEAN, marking a new chapter for the regional bloc. Leaders celebrated this milestone, but challenges like border disputes and regional tensions are still on the horizon. This expansion aims to boost unity and influence, but experts remind us that cooperation and trust are key for ASEAN's future stability. Please continue to watch for more detailed stories. The Toronto Star vividly captures the electrifying performance of Isaac Brown, whose explosive 205-yard rushing game propelled Louisville to a gritty 38-24 victory over Boston College. Brown's remarkable first-half burst, with 151 yards from just 5 carries, set the tone for the Cardinals' ground assault, which totaled 317 yards. Despite a costly fumble early in the second half that allowed Boston College to narrow the gap, Louisville's resilience shone through, with quarterback Miller Moss orchestrating crucial drives, including a 22-yard touchdown pass and 2 rushing scores. The Eagles, led by Grayson James' 244 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, kept the game competitive but ultimately fell short, as Louisville's strategic plays and timely turnovers kept them in the hunt for the ACC Championship. The Toronto Star vividly details the commanding performance of Eddie Lee Marburger, who threw a career-high 6 touchdown passes and ran for another score, leading UT Rio Grande Valley to a dominant 56-28 victory over Incarnate Word. Marburger's precision passing, completing 26 of 36 for 440 yards, was highlighted by his connection with Tony Diaz, who set a program record with 17 catches for 172 yards, including a spectacular one-handed touchdown. The Vaqueros' relentless offense, scoring on 4 of their first 5 drives and building a commanding 35-0 halftime lead, overwhelmed the Cardinals' defense. Meanwhile, Incarnate Word's E.J. Colson fought valiantly with 339 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, but the game was ultimately a showcase of UT Rio Grande Valley's offensive firepower and dominance. The Toronto Star vividly portrays Miami's commanding 42-7 victory over Stanford, with Mark Fletcher Jr. shining brightly by rushing for a career-high 3 touchdowns and amassing 106 yards. Miami's defense stifled Stanford after a promising first quarter, shutting out the Cardinal in the second half and outscoring them 35-0 in the final 30 minutes. Carson Beck, despite a rough start with 4 interceptions in his previous game, rebounded to throw for 189 yards and a touchdown, orchestrating the Hurricanes' steady offensive effort. The game turned into a showcase of Miami's balanced attack and suffocating defense, reversing Stanford's early lead and delivering a decisive win that underscored their resilience and strategic prowess on the gridiron. The Toronto Star vividly depicted the intense atmosphere of the 2025 World Aquatics Swimming World Cup in Toronto, where Ilya Kharun, a young Montreal swimmer, dazzled the crowd with his remarkable victory in the men's 50-meter butterfly. With the roar of the sellout crowd fueling his adrenaline, Kharun narrowly edged out the reigning world record holder, No Ponte, by just 1/100 of a second, capturing his second Triple Crown of the series and earning a substantial $10,000 prize. The competition was a showcase of Canadian talent, with Kharun, Liendo, and others shattering records and earning prestigious titles, all set against the backdrop of Canada's fastest pool. His triumphant moment was not just about medals and money. It was a testament to the thrill of fierce rivalry and the electric energy of competing on home turf, with the crowd's cheers echoing the significance of this event in Canadian swimming history. Meanwhile, the Canadian press highlighted the emotional and competitive spirit of the swimming series, emphasizing the international stars who also completed their own Triple Crowns, like Kate Douglas and Hubert Kos, each securing over $100,000 in prize money. These athletes, including Americans Luke Hobson and Gretchen Walsh, demonstrated exceptional skill and determination, pushing the boundaries of their sport and setting new records in short course events. The series was a whirlwind of record-breaking performances and fierce rivalries, culminating in a series of unforgettable moments that underscored the global appeal and high stakes of competitive swimming. The event's culmination saw athletes not only competing for medals but also for substantial financial rewards, adding an extra layer of excitement and prestige to the series. The perspective from Yahoo US cast a stark light on the troubling phenomenon of grade inflation at American universities, with Harvard's report revealing that 60% of grades are now A's, a sharp increase from previous decades. Naomi Schaefer-Riley described how this inflation has distorted the academic landscape, making it harder for students to distinguish themselves and creating a stressful environment for those who work hard to earn their grades. She drew attention to the broader systemic issues, including the decline in academic standards at lower-tier institutions, where students' grades have risen despite falling test scores and preparedness. Riley lamented the tragic cycle of deception, students being told they are qualified for college-level work when they are not, and educators feeling pressured to inflate grades to avoid conflict or jeopardize their jobs. She argued that true compassion would involve honesty and transparency, even if it means admitting that the current system is fundamentally flawed and that students deserve a more truthful assessment of their abilities. South China Morning Post vividly depicts the tense and uncertain atmosphere surrounding Kenya's Mlima Hill, a lush forest harboring vast rare earth deposits valued at over $62 billion. The region has become a focal point for global powers, notably the United States and China, whose interest in the mineral-rich area ignites fears among local communities of displacement and exploitation. The indigenous Digo people, who have long cherished the forest for its sacred shrines and livelihoods, now face the threat of eviction amid land speculation and international bids by Australian firms. Kenya's past struggles with transparency and corruption in its mining sector further complicate the situation, as the government seeks to attract foreign investment to boost its economy, especially as China tightens its rare earth exports. Yet, community members like Muhammad Rico mourn the potential loss of their sacred land and rare indigenous species, while others see the opportunity for economic uplift through responsible development, illustrating a complex dance between preservation and progress. Yahoo US's narrative celebrates the majestic western larch trees of Montana, especially the iconic Gus, a 1,000-year-old giant that stands as a living testament to the region's ecological history and stewardship. These deciduous conifers, among only 20 in the world, tell stories of indigenous fire management practices that fostered their growth, fires set by Salish and Kootenai tribes to clear underbrush and enrich the soil, allowing Gus and his kin to thrive against the odds. The story captures the awe-inspiring size and resilience of Gus, who has weathered nearly 40 fires and survived centuries of natural and human influences, including logging and fire suppression policies. Today, conservation efforts like prescribed burns and forest thinning aim to protect these ancient giants from catastrophic wildfires, ensuring that Gus's legacy endures. His story embodies a deep connection between humans and nature, highlighting the importance of stewardship in maintaining the delicate balance of Montana's wilderness. Nikkei Asia reports the historic expansion of ASEAN as East Timor joins the regional bloc, a milestone that signifies the organization's full geographical coverage of Southeast Asia. Leaders convened in Kuala Lumpur to celebrate this integration, emphasizing East Timor's resilience and strategic importance despite its relatively undeveloped economy. The inclusion of East Timor, the only Southeast Asian nation classified as free by Freedom House, aims to bolster ASEAN's image amid internal challenges such as border disputes, the Myanmar crisis, and rising transnational crimes like cyber scams and trafficking. While the bloc's unity is tested by these issues, the summit also underscores efforts to foster regional stability through diplomatic negotiations, including a tentative peace agreement between Thailand and Cambodia. However, experts warn that expanding membership may complicate deeper integration, and ongoing economic headwinds from U.S. tariffs threaten to slow ASEAN's momentum. The summit's focus on regional cooperation and conflict resolution reflects a cautious optimism about ASEAN's future amid turbulent geopolitical currents. The South China Morning Post vividly details the complex geopolitical tensions surrounding the Solomon Islands' ambitious plan to establish a defense force. This initiative, rooted in the nation's desire for stability and resilience after years of ethnic violence and unrest, has stirred a hornet's nest of international concern. The government insists that the force is solely for disaster response, border security, and maritime threats, emphasizing sovereignty and nation-building. However, the presence of a 2022 security pact with China, permitting Beijing to deploy personnel and make port calls, has alarmed Western powers, particularly Australia and the United States. Experts suggest that China's military capabilities could play a pivotal role in funding and training, potentially overshadowing Australia's traditional influence. Critics warned that closer military ties with China might cast the Solomon Islands as an adversary in Western eyes, risking regional instability and complicating diplomatic relations. Amidst internal unrest and historical ethnic violence, the nation's aspiration to create its own defense force is seen by some as a vital step toward stability, yet fraught with challenges like infrastructure deficits, funding shortages, and the delicate balance of international alliances. Meanwhile, the Toronto Star reports on a spirited college football game where Idaho's Joshua Woods threw 4 touchdown passes, showcasing a commanding performance that led his team to a 45-6 victory over Portland State. The game was marked by Idaho's offensive prowess, with Woods connecting with 4 different receivers, and standout performances from Alicia Cummings, who racked up 165 yards including a 64-yard touchdown. The Vikings struggled under the pressure, with their quarterback John Kiwi Sagapalootiel throwing an interception and being replaced by Tyrese Smith, who attempted to rally the team but couldn't bridge the gap. Idaho's dominant showing extended their season record, while Portland State remains winless, suffering their 8th consecutive defeat. The game highlighted Idaho's offensive firepower and resilience, providing a bright spot in an otherwise challenging season for the Vikings, and demonstrating the unpredictable excitement of college football. In a tense and dramatic NCAA football clash, the Toronto Star describes Texas quarterback Arch Manning sustaining an apparent upper body injury during an overtime victory against Mississippi State. Manning, who had led a remarkable comeback from a 17-point deficit, finished the game with impressive stats: 346 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, before leaving the field after a scramble on the first play of overtime. Backup quarterback Matthew Caldwell stepped in to throw the game-winning 10-yard touchdown pass, securing Texas's 45-38 win. The injury cast a shadow over the victory, raising concerns about Manning's health moving forward. The game was fiercely contested, with Mississippi State applying relentless pressure on Manning, highlighting the physical toll of college football at its highest level. As the team celebrates their hard-fought victory, questions linger about Manning's condition, emphasizing the unpredictable and physically demanding nature of the sport. South China Morning Post reports a significant shift in Hong Kong's university admissions landscape, revealing that over the past decade, 7 out of 8 public universities have admitted fewer students from the local Diploma of Secondary Education (DSE) route, favoring international exam pathways instead. The data shows a steady decline in DSE admissions from 80% in 2015-16 to a low of 74% in 2024-25. Translating to about 500 fewer DSE students enrolling in higher education. Meanwhile, the number of students entering through international qualifications like IB and GCE levels has soared by nearly 140%, with HKU seeing its non-JUPAS admissions rise from 13% to 30%. This trend highlights a growing preference among students and families for international curricula, often associated with higher tuition fees, which now account for a larger share of university entrants. Despite these changes, the Chinese University of Hong Kong remains an exception, increasing its proportion of DSE students and emphasizing its commitment to providing opportunities for students from diverse backgrounds, whether through local or international routes. The Toronto Star details a thrilling college football game where Pittsburgh's freshman quarterback Mason Heinchel set a school record with 423 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, leading the Panthers to a 53-34 victory over North Carolina State. Since stepping in for Eli Hallstein in late September, Heinchel has transformed Pitt's offense, showcasing a talent reminiscent of legendary quarterback Kenny Pickett. His performance included a spectacular 84-yard touchdown pass and a series of precise throws that kept Pitt ahead in a high-scoring contest. However, the win may come with a cost, as star running back Desmond Reed exited with an apparent leg injury. NC State struggled defensively, especially in the secondary, allowing Pitt's dynamic offense to flourish, although their own quarterback C.J. Bailey managed 3 scores. The game underlined Pitt's offensive resurgence and set the stage for upcoming clashes, with the team eyeing continued success amid concerns over Reed's injury and the Wolfpack's defensive shortcomings. The Toronto Star also reports on Prairie View A&M's dominant 38-0 victory over Lincoln University in Texas, marking their 4th consecutive win. Led by Cameron Peters, who threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another, and Chase Bingmon, who scored twice on the ground, the Panthers overwhelmed their opponents from the outset. Prairie View's offense was unstoppable, scoring 24 points in the first quarter alone, and their defense was stifling, limiting Lincoln to a mere 63 yards of total offense. The game was interrupted by a weather delay but quickly resumed, with Peters extending their lead with a 19-yard run and Josiah Rockwell contributing a 70-yard reception for a touchdown. This commanding performance underscores Prairie View A&M's strong season, showcasing their offensive firepower and defensive resilience as they continue their winning streak. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.